I love fighting games, and I love Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter NEN Impact has been my most anticipated game since it was first leaked back in May of last year, but sadly, the general consensus around the game seems to be negative. The game comes out this fall, and I hope people end up giving it a shot. It looks extremely fun, faithful, and brings a lot to the table for both new and veteran fighting game fans alike. Despite the future looking bright, I can't help but think about what the most worrying things are as we get closer to the inevitable release of the game. Rather than focus on my thoughts on this game, as many other content creators and players have done, I'd much rather, as a big fighting game, aiding, and Hunter x Hunter fan, and someone who's extremely excited for this game, point out the major worries that people aren't really focusing on. So, this is an unedited look as to why I think these three things are the most worrying parts of NEN Impact prior to its release. The first big worry is with open playtests. Now, we haven't got any open playtests for the game yet, which is kind of worrying considering the game comes out in fall of 2024. Now, fall of 2024 could be anywhere between September to November, to my knowledge, and the biggest problem with that is that we have not been able to playtest and look for bugs and look for broken things like infinites in the game's beta currently, which is a huge issue because a lot of people who are going to try the game, you know, they might get 30 minutes, they might get an hour to try the game. We have a bunch of content creators like Justin Wong and Jam Crofts, and a lot of these people have tried the game. Cloud805's friend went, and I think Cloud805 tried himself. That's really cool. The problem with that is that, one, a lot of the time that can be dedicated to finding these things won't be available because training mode is usually going to be locked, or a lot of people can't lab and test the game as thoroughly as they want to because there are usually a lot of lines at expos. And another issue is that a lot of the general consensus about the game when it comes to people who have played it at an expo can be shrouded by, this is a new game, this is flashy, I want to try this, and I cannot delve deeper into the systems because one, I have limited time, and two, the environment that I'm surrounded with is usually generally positive, and you can't really comment on this feels bad, this doesn't feel very good, because you don't have much experience, you aren't very well versed in the game, because they didn't give you a lot of time with the game, and I think that's a big issue. I think they should be giving us playtests, we should be able to try the game. Their previous game, DNF Duel, did very well with the playtests because they had an open beta on PlayStation, both PS4 and PS5. And what they did is that they would put it out in December for the first beta test, and then they put out a second beta test later on. But the first beta test in December was 6 months before the game's release. If it releases in fall, there is less than 6 months until the game's release. So there is going to be no way to prevent any of the bugs, any of the glitches, any of the infinites, any of the broken tools from being found out because we cannot playtest the game, and I think that's a big issue. I think the developers should allow the players who are most interested, for example me and everyone else in the Hunter x Hunter NEN Impact community, including the Discord, to be able to try this game and to find out the flaws in it, to find out anything that looks broken, to find out anything else, so that way they can patch it out, fix it, add something new, whatever that may be. Because a lot of the tools right now, we have not been able to experiment with ourselves, and we have not been able to experiment with them in a closed environment, which I think is a big flaw with how they're marketing now. And there are a lot of other flaws with how they're marketing, especially with the translations are really bad. Sometimes they get trailers wrong, sometimes they show the wrong trailers. There's a lot of flaws, and it puts a bad name on the game, you know, a bigger one than it already has. But despite this, I think it's going to be pretty good. The next thing I'm worried about is the price. Now, the price can be whatever it wants to be. We can't decide how they price it, or where they price it, in what region, or how it's being priced. We can't decide that, sadly. But I do hope that it is a reasonable price for what we're getting. I do think $40 to $50 is the perfect price for this game. It's not too little, but they also get the money back, and they're also able to sell it for what it is, because in my opinion, it doesn't really offer a lot for the casual audience. There are a lot of modes that they've shown off. For example, in online, you can trade like Greed Island cards, basically, where you will play a match and then instead of losing ranked points, you will lose Greed Island cards, and then as you play more, you can get those cards back and fill out like your binder. I think that's really cool for the casual audience, and they also said there's going to be an animated story mode, which looks like there will be an animated story mode with cutscenes, which is way better than what a lot of anime games like Jujutsu Kaisen and Curse Clash are offering. But I do think there will be a big issue with charging it like a game like Street Fighter 6, for example $60 for a AAA title. And what's worrying about this is the fact that PlayAsia has released the pre-orders for the physical versions on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5, and I've talked to a lot of people and they've said that PlayAsia likes to up the prices, and it's still, work in progress. The game hasn't been shown with its price, the game hasn't been given a release date, we don't know when it's going to come out, what it's going to be priced at, but it does say $70. And that's worrying, because the game obviously might not be priced at $70, but if it's priced at $60, I think a lot of people aren't going to buy it, because for a full-priced game and you're getting as little content as they're offering, because it's a fighting game, fighting games usually don't have a lot of content, especially dedicated towards casuals. I think that's very worrying if they're going to do that. So I really, really hope they charge it $40, $50, that'll be good. We get more people into the game, we get more people active and excited about the game, rather than paying a full price. It can be something like Skullgirls, it can be something like DNF Duel. They can have a lot of promotions where they make the game on sale for a DLC character, or they make the game on sale because it's on Epic Game Store, or whatever happens. I think that'll be really good, and I'm really excited to see how they price it, but I'm also really worried to see how they price it, because I hope it's not too much, because I don't think a lot of people want to spend $60, $70 on a game like this, and I also don't think that Aiding and Bushiroad want to lose out on money, because the budget of this game seems a lot smaller than other games around the same scale, especially a game like DNF Duel. But I do think that they should price it lower than it's being said to be priced, because the game should be accessible to many, and the game shouldn't be as expensive as something like Street Fighter 6 when it's offering less content than something like Street Fighter 6. And the final, and probably the most important thing that I'm really, really worried about is the netcode. Now, Aiding's previous game, DNF Duel, had some of the best rollback netcode I've ever seen in a fighting game, and I've been competing for 10 years, so I've been playing a lot of fighting games, a lot of different netcode, Third Strike Online Edition, Fightcade, Street Fighter 6's netcode. In my opinion, DNF Duel has some of the best rollback I've ever seen. They did a really good job. Now, the problem with this game is that they haven't confirmed rollback netcode, and we don't have a playtest, so I'm really worried. I don't know if rollback netcode is going to be in the game. We're all assuming it is, but if it's not, this game will die on release. And I usually don't use the word die lightly, but given the fact that it's definitely going to be a Discord fighter on release, and I'm still going to play it because I love the community, and I love the game, and I love Hunter x Hunter, and I love fighting games, it is 100% going to die on release. I'm definitely going to play it a lot less. We won't get as many people into the community with a lack of rollback netcode, so I'm really worried because we're so close to release. They haven't announced rollback, they haven't announced anything related to netcode, they haven't announced anything related to online play outside of there will be a rank system and there will be other online modes. There's a lot of things that I'm worried about that could easily be fixed by a closed or open beta test, and at the very least, even if there's not going to be a closed or open beta test, just confirm that rollback exists, because they already deconfirmed that crossplay exists, so we already know that crossplay is not a thing. They confirmed that on the website. But the biggest issue is the netcode. I don't care about crossplay if the netcode is good, because then I'll at least be able to play against the good players on PC, or the good players on PSN, or whatever it may be. But if there is no crossplay and there is also delay-based netcode, the game will instantly die on release. This is a fact. This has been shown time and time again. A game in this modern day and age needs to have rollback netcode. It is not an if, it is not a but, it has to have it. Otherwise, I will not play the game. Even if I will play the game, I will not play the game seriously. But this game, I'm definitely looking to invest more time into, definitely looking to take it seriously, enter tournaments, maybe travel for bracket. But if this is how it's going to be, I definitely cannot. I need rollback to be confirmed. A lot of people need rollback to be confirmed. If it does not have rollback, then a lot of people won't play it. I really hope it does. Bushiroad, please, just announce netcode. Just say that it has rollback. Just say that it has delay base. If it has delay base, at least rip off the band-aid and just tell us. Stop leaving us in the dark. There are so many things that they've leaked, but for some reason they can't leak rollback netcode. So that's another thing I'm extremely worried about. So yeah, those are just my unedited thoughts about the game. They're not really thoughts, they're more so just my worries about the game. Originally I was going to make this a video about why Hunter x Hunter was the perfect game for me. Basically it was just made for a person like me who loves fighting games, who loves Kusoge, who loves bullshit, who loves Hunter x Hunter. But sadly, I think it's better to make a video about my worries and to get those worries out there. because I think Aiding and Bushiroad need to hear this, and I think more people need to talk about this. Instead of complaining about the graphics, and that the game might have this, and the game might have that, and all this gameplay. A lot of people are saying this stuff, but I don't think that really matters, and I don't really care about that stuff. More importantly, the game needs a good price tag, the game needs to have good netcode, and the game definitely needs to have a playtest sometime, whether it be open, whether it be closed, whether it be only for netcode test, whether it be only for a playtest to figure out glitches and stuff, whatever that may be. People need time with this game so this game can develop into something good, and people need to experiment with this game so people can find glitches and infinites and flaws in the game's mechanics, flaws in the game's balance, flaws in the game's code, all these different things, and they're not letting us do this, which is very worrying, because we need this. And another thing that we also need is confirmation for rollback netcode. I cannot state this enough. That is the biggest thing. Without a netcode test, without any announcement of netcode, without anything related to netcode even being talked about, there is a big worry that the netcode is going to be delay based, and they don't want to tell us that it's delay based, because a lot of people will see, oh, this game has delay based netcode, I'm not going to buy this now, because in the modern day and age, why would I play a game with bad netcode when Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear Strive, DNF Duel, Fightcade, all these different things for all these different people have incredible netcode with rollback. So it doesn't make sense that they're not going to announce it unless they want to hide something. And that level of, or that lack of transparency is very worrying for a person like me who's very interested in the game, who's very active in the community. And I think they really need to just announce this, they need to show it. And yeah, those are just my unedited thoughts, well, more so worries about the game. And I do think this game is going to be amazing. Please, 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 if you're interested in this game, buy this game. Support the devs. Aiding is amazing. Support the community. We're going to be hosting tournaments for the game. We're going to be running sets in the Discord. We're going to have an amazing time. The community is already amazing. You have people like Ender Dwonk. You have people like Anthony. You have so many cool people in the community. But this game really needs to shine, and we need more footage, and we need more time with the game, and we need more people talking about the game. We need more people being excited for the game, so that way this community can thrive and this game can thrive, and we can support the devs even more so they can continue working on this great game, this game that looks great, which hopefully has rollback netcode. And I really hope that they announce it. Aiding, please just announce something related to it. That is the biggest issue I have. Playtests, bugs, they can all be patched. Rollback netcode is the most difficult one to patch in, so if the game starts with delay-based netcode, it will die on release, and I cannot state that enough. But that's about it for my unedited thoughts, and